When I bought my PS5 on day one, the very first thing I did was play Astro's Playroom. The potential this thing had was crystal clear. The creativity was off the charts, and the things it was making this controller do made me excited for the future of this console generation. 4 years later though, these features have barely been utilised in many other games since. Gaming in 2024 is a highly divisive place. Everybody is constantly arguing with each other over how this game sucks, this game is good, and console wars plague the internet. Step up Astro Bot to remind us all why we play video games in the first place. They're supposed to be damn fun, and no game this year embodies that sentiment better than Astro Bot does. When you dive into Astrobot, you're immediately struck by how much care has been poured into the world design and level layout. The game constantly surprises you with a wide variety of environments, each one more imaginative and visually striking than the last. You'll begin by navigating through bright, colourful spaces that seem almost playful in their design, but as you progress, the levels start to take on a more complex, layered feel, filled with hidden paths, secrets, and interactive elements that make you want to explore every single inch. One of the standout aspects of the level design is how well it balances challenge with exploration. As you make your way through different worlds, the game introduces a steady stream of new mechanics and obstacles, so you're rarely doing the same thing twice. It's this constant variation that keeps the gameplay fresh, and it's clear that the developers have thought carefully about how to pace these experiences so that you never feel overwhelmed or bored. There's a lot of gimmicks that give you a bunch of new abilities that are so well crafted that some games would fixate an entire world upon, yet Astrobot uses it for 10 minutes then moves on to something else. It's an overload of creativity. I will say that sometimes they use some of these gimmicks more than others, and that's a little annoying. I cannot for the life of me work out why there's 5 or 6 levels with the dog power up, a literal boost forward, and only one with the sponge power up, where you soak up water and become huge. This feels like a shame. Each level feels like a distinct chapter in a larger interconnected world. You'll notice that the game often plays with scale and perspective, making you feel like a tiny character in a giant awe-inspiring world. This is especially noticeable when you encounter massive enemies or towering structures that you have to climb, giving you a sense of both challenge and wonder as you navigate the spaces around you. The game uses this sense of scale not only to provide visually striking moments, but also to enhance the gameplay, forcing you to think about the environment in 3 dimensions as you find paths and solve puzzles. Visually, Astrobot excels at keeping you constantly engaged with its diverse settings. Each level is so short, you could speedrun almost any level in a minute or so, but naturally they're probably 5 to 10 minutes each. The game transitions smoothly from one thematic world to the next, and each new area feels like a mini revelation. You might be running through serene sunlit forests one moment with soft glowing light filtering through the trees, and then suddenly find yourself in a mechanical metropolis with towering skyscrapers. These environments are not just backdrops, they feel alive. If you can see something in a level that's off in the distance, there's a very good chance you'll be jumping on it at some point. You interact with these levels in meaningful ways. Whether it's just something simple like climbing or navigating through tight spaces, they all feel beautifully integrated into the level design. But the variety doesn't just stop with the settings. The game constantly throws new enemies, gadgets, and challenges your way, each one fitting seamlessly into the world you're exploring. These shifts in mechanics keep you engaged, as you're never just navigating through a static world, you're constantly interacting with it in new ways. The bosses and larger set pieces further add to this sense of wonder. These encounters often make full use of the environment, whether you're battling a giant monkey or you're trying to dodge attacks in a shifting arena. The bosses themselves are often towering figures that make you feel really small yet capable as you learn their patterns and figure out how to take them down. The epic scale of these battles contrasts with the more intimate platforming sections, creating moments of excitement and tension that really feel earned and leave you feeling like you're part of something grand. As you move through Astrobot, there is a consistent sense of discovery. You're encouraged to search for hidden collectibles and explore every single nook and cranny you can. These collectibles aren't just tacked on extras, they're woven into the level design in really clever ways. It's not as simple as just the game wants me to go left so I'll go right. You see something you want to interact with, you do that, and then you get a collectible. This attention to detail makes the world feel like it was crafted with love, and as you uncover more of its secrets, you feel a much deeper connection to the game. In short, Astrobot is a masterclass in both visual variety and level design. The game takes you on a journey that feels fresh and exciting from the very start to the very end, constantly surprising you with new ideas, mechanics, and breathtaking environments. Every level feels like a carefully curated experience designed to fill specifically you with wonder, making the game simply an unforgettable adventure. But that's just the game itself. What makes Astrobot even more incredible is, of course, the PlayStation theme. When you play Astrobot, it becomes clear that it's not just a platformer, it's a joyful celebration of gaming history itself. One of the most brilliant aspects of the game is how it weaves nostalgia into its core, mainly through the collectible bots. These bots are cleverly designed to pay homage to iconic characters from gaming's past, each one meticulously modelled after heroes, villains, and even quirky side characters from your favourite games that have shaped the landscape of this medium over the past few decades. As you explore each level, you encounter these hidden collectible bots in places that feel like tributes, just tucked away in environments that nod to the games they reference. The way the bots are modelled is both playful and respectful, blending Astrobot's charm and aesthetic with the recognisable traits of these legendary characters, with each one bringing a wave of recognition and nostalgia that really emphasises this feeling of joy and discovery you get while playing the game. The beauty of this approach is that it doesn't feel forced or gimmicky, it doesn't feel like a crutch. Instead, it's woven seamlessly into the experience, which just adds fresh layers on top of the game's identity. These moments of recognition make you feel like you're part of an inside joke, one that celebrates a shared love for gaming. This game is basically just a manifestation of the DiCaprio meme, where he's like, oh, wait. What makes these homages even more special is how they capture not just the visual aspects of these iconic characters, but also their essence. The animations, the poses, and the environments that they're in, it evokes the spirit of those games. You see a bot replicating a heroic pose, or one sneaking behind a cardboard box. These little details remind you of the character's defining traits, while blending them perfectly into this whimsical world. It's a way for the game to recognise these legendary characters, but also to remind you of the joy you felt when you were playing those games. As you collect more and more of these bots, it really feels like you're assembling a museum of gaming history. Each one is a tiny interactive tribute to the characters and games that have defined different eras of gaming, from the retro classics of the 90s to the more modern iconic titles. The range of characters represented is broad enough that if you've played a video game before, then you will for sure find something in here that will resonate with you specifically. The brilliance of this approach lies in how it balances this nostalgia with a forward-thinking modern game. Astrobot doesn't rely solely on these references to carry the game. If they weren't in it, the game would still be fine. It's a fantastic platformer in its own right. But by including these nods to gaming's past, it deepens the experience. It turns each level into not just a challenge to overcome, but a playground of memories to explore. The collectible bots don't just exist as static trophies, they're interactive reminders of why you fell in love with video games in the first place, each one sparking a memory of a favourite game or character. The bots are an absolute joy to collect, so much so in fact that I decided to get the platinum, and I think absolutely everybody who plays this game should do too. And that's before even mentioning the levels at the end of each world, which are fully inspired on some form of Sony game, and they all genuinely blew me away. The God of War level in particular was astounding, but the others are also great as well. In a way, Astrobot serves as a celebration of gaming's evolution. By bringing these iconic characters into its world in such a playful and meaningful way, the game bridges the gap between the old and the new, showing you how far gaming has come whilst allowing you to appreciate its roots. it's not just a celebration of individual games or characters, but a celebration of the creativity, diversity and innovation that defines this medium itself.
Hi everyone, this is me. Look how cool I am. Just wanted to take a 20-second break from the video to say that if you're enjoying the content, then to please check out some of the other videos on the channel if they look interesting to you. You'll be doing yourself a favour if you really think about it. I even have a playlist with some of my best videos, so they're easy viewing. Thanks guys, back to the video.
But none of this would matter at all if the platforming wasn't actually good. I played a game last year called After Us that had some really creative ideas and fun gimmicks, but the core platforming was really poor. This would obviously hold back a 3D platformer. The controls in Astro Bot are a shining example of precision and responsiveness, rivaling the best platformers in the genre. From the moment you start playing, you feel an immediate connection with Astro Bot, as every movement feels tight, fluid and highly responsive. This level of control is key in a platformer where precision, timing and accuracy are vital. What truly sets the controls apart though is how they make full use of the PS5's DualSense controller. The tactile feedback you get from the adaptive triggers, haptic feedback and built-in speaker elevate the experience far beyond what you'd expect from a traditional platformer. The controller doesn't just act as merely an input device, it becomes an extension of the game itself, enhancing your connection with the world and making you feel like you're directly influencing his movements and interactions with the environment, which you are. Obviously, you're holding a controller, but it feels more so. The haptic feedback is used to great effect throughout the entire game. As Astrobot walks, jumps or interacts with various surfaces, you feel subtle vibrations that correspond to what's happening on screen. For example, when Astrobot walks across soft terrain like sand or grass, the vibrations are gentle, while harder surfaces like metal and stone provide a sharper, more defined feedback. This not only makes the world feel more immersive, but it also helps you stay connected to Astrobot's movements, giving you a physical sense of the environment's texture and resistance. The adaptive triggers play a crucial role in enhancing specific gameplay mechanics. When Astrobot uses the gadgets or interacts with other objects, the tension in the triggers adjusts to reflect the in-game action. This subtle but impactful feedback makes every gadget or tool feel more engaging to use, and it adds a layer of depth to the controls that wouldn't be possible with a standard controller. One of the most impressive aspects of the controls is how they combine complexity with accessibility. While the game introduces a wide variety of mechanics, tools and gadgets, the controls are always intuitive and easy to grasp. The simplicity of Astrobot's core movement, running, jumping and interacting, makes it immediately accessible to players of all skill levels. At the same time, the depth provided by the more advanced mechanics and the use of the DualSense features ensures that there's always something new to master, making it satisfying for experienced players as well. The majority of the game's main content is quite easy. A couple bosses could cause some trouble I guess, but nothing you would expect to frustrate you for too long. But then there's also hidden challenge levels, most of which are also great, but there's also a couple of them that make you want to rip your hair out. I think there is only one level in this entire game that I genuinely think is a bad level, and it's this damn challenge level with the duck. The water never goes where it feels like it should do. Why does this level need homing missiles? Oh my god, screw the duck level, right? What really elevates this experience though is how well the controller integrates with the various action sequences. Whether you're pulling a lever, navigating tight spaces, or anything of that sort, every action feels perfectly tuned to the controller's capabilities. The level of precision you have over your movements, combined with the feedback from the controller, makes the most challenging platforming sections feel fair and rewarding. Most of the time when you die, it's your fault. You always feel in control, and when you nail a jump or outmaneuver an enemy, it's really satisfying because you know that you did it entirely on your own, because the controls are just that accurate. The controls in Astrobot are superb, offering the kind of precision and responsiveness that define top tier platformers. But of course, the DualSense controller really emphasizes this and elevates it higher above. Astrobot is the best game I've played so far this year. It is, in my opinion, the best 3D platformer that I have ever played. Although it must be noted, I haven't played every single 3D platformer. It's not a genre I'm ultra experienced in. Everything this game provides, though, is everything we as gamers want from this medium. Astrobot is that good that people will eventually forget about Sony's Concord disaster, with PlayStation finally back in the gaming community's good book. Oh fuck.